What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Auto Auction Rebuilds. Today we're long overdue to try to figure out what's wrong with my 1995 Pontiac Bonneville. I had to purchase a special scan tool just to do this job, so now we got to find out if we can take it on the road and get the check engine light to come back on. It's been parked for so long, the check engine light is not on anymore, so running the codes does no good. So why don't we take a look at this car and see if we can fix it. This is my 1995 Pontiac Bonneville. This car, well, I'm kidding. I'm just doing a horrible impression of Doug DeMuro there. But this really is my cheap 1995 Pontiac Bonneville. It's got some miles on it, but it's got that solid, stout 3800 engine that is kind of hard to beat. Transmission as well. These things are pretty stout cars. It's a base model. There's nothing special about it. It's just an SE, but I like the way it looks. I haven't seen these in quite a while, guys. And this one is in relatively good shape, aside from a few minor cosmetic challenges. It's got a little bit of hail damage, which is kind of interesting because the front, no hail damage. No. The roof, no hail damage. Roof looks great. The only hail damage is when you get over here to the trunk. So the back end must have been sticking out of a carport or something, because you got a hail dent there. You got one there. You got a big one here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more here. And I don't see any on this side. So the hail damage is minimal. I mean, absolutely minimal. This quarter panel looks like it came out remotely unscathed. There is one ding there. So there's probably about 6 little hail dings in it that could all be PDR'd if you really wanted to go that route. But let's be realistic. It's an old Pontiac Bonneville. Nobody's going to spend the money to pull out dings. So we took this thing for a ride. It was $300. Got it for $300 from IAA. It was definitely an old person's car. The interior's in phenomenal shape. You've got the thick old floor mats right here by Goodyear. It's even got a sunshade back here as well that used to go here. You've got some lug nut caps right here for $300 for a car that runs and drives with cold air, a cigarette lighter. Somebody's actually used this. A cigarette lighter in the back. 175,000 mile, $300 Pontiac Bonneville. And by the way, the interior smells absolutely wonderful. Look, ashtray. Yeah, I think that's, I mean, it's got to be an ashtray. You got a cigarette lighter and then ashtrays in the door. I've got the door key right here so I don't lose it. The interior, again, really, really good shape for its age. It's aged very well. So the issue with this car is that we took it down the road. It did great for about 5 or 6 miles. And then all hell broke loose. It didn't want to run. It didn't want to carry itself up a hill anymore. It was just acting a complete fool. So here's what I had to purchase. This is my Actron Elite Auto Scanner. By the way, good luck finding one of these. I managed to get this brand new. I've got this for a cigarette lighter adapter, and then it plugs in. Here's the interesting thing. 1995. This is an OBD2 connector. It even says OBD2 right on the connector. This port is not OBD2. It is OBD 1.5. A lot of people have argued with me about it, but there's one thing. Listen, I know my GMs, and you're wrong. That is not an OBD2 port, because it just so happens that right over here, have a very expensive, like $2,600 AutoFix scan tool. I can work on Porsches. I can work on a McLaren, Mercedes-Benz all day long. It does not communicate with this car because they have switched 2 of the wires around on OBD2 to make it unique to only this car. This scanner, I had to wait for it to come from China, and it was not cheap. I paid over $200 for this thing so that I can use it on like one car. I mean, that's not true. So this is a CP9690, and this thing is very, very hard to get your hands on. You can sometimes find them used, but good luck, because half the time they're missing some of the cables. This comes with a lot of different cables, including the GM ALDL. This is your old school GM port. And by the way, no, this does not fit on this car. You also have your Toyota, an interesting connector right there. You have, I believe this is your, is this a Ford, an old school? Yeah, Ford EEC4 connector right here. And we've got another Toyota connector right there. And then we have a Chrysler connector right here. This is some old school stuff, guys, and honestly, it's a pretty impressive scan tool if you're going to be messing around with anything older, and if you need to use it to clear codes on newer cars, run diagnostics and stuff, obviously OBD2 compatible, but this particular scanner is one of the only ones that you can use on an old school 1995 because in 95 GM used a lot of OBD 1.5, some rare in the middle hybrid between OBD 1 and OBD 2. Connecting a paper clip no longer works. It's a whole different ball game. So why don't we see if it wants to fire up? The only thing I've done to this car since I got it, the only thing is I moved it into the garage today and I put gas in it. I put maybe 3 gallons of fresh fuel. It got me thinking maybe this car had been sitting for a while. I don't know. And, you know, maybe the gas kind of got bad on it. So let's pop the hood real quick. Make sure we don't have anything obvious going on under the hood. Like, you know, there we go. Like a mass airflow sensor leaking or anything like that. Come on. There we go. It's going to get a little dark on you. That's okay. There's your tried and true, man. Your classic GM 3800. Such a good motor. Honestly, a great motor. Oh, looks like there are some rodents got in here at some point, started eating into things, but everything looks fine. This is nice and tight. Nice and tight on here. Air temperature sensor, mass airflow sensor. I think this is your idle air control valve, your throttle position sensor. Everything looks like it's connected where it should be. Fuel injection harness, all of your coil packs. Everything honestly looks really good. You got metal elbows where some of them used to be plastic. So somebody did a little bit of an upgrade on that. I think it's ready to take for a ride, guys. Everything looks like it should be fine. It's just a matter of figuring out why it runs like absolute dog crap. Now, this is not a car that I'm going to keep. I'm probably going to send this thing up for sale as soon as I can get it figured out. But here is the old scan tool doing its thing. It wants us to start the car, I guess, and press enter. We're not going to mess with any of that. Ooh. There we go. Didn't want to start. Doesn't really want to run too well either. Gauges all look good. Let's take it out for a little spin. And we've only got 2 windows at work. So that's great. Like I said, guys, I have no intention of keeping this car. None at all. We're going to get rid of it, but I'd like to get it running right before I send her on down the road. These are great cars, and while the 3800 is a great engine, oh, she doesn't even want to go. Ooh. Spitting, sputting. A little bit of brake noise from sitting. Oh, wow. Yeah, she's let's go this way. Oh, it's taking off just fine. Yeah. Really? Well, what was all the spitting and sputting about? It's doing great now. Okay, I mean, it drives straight as an arrow. Cold air conditioning, it needs a couple window regulators, but I mean, aside from that, the only thing that was bothering me about this car was the fact that it was running so horribly. Could it have really been as simple as putting gasoline in it? It was low, but it wasn't empty. There's no way, man. There's no way it was just fuel. Oh, they're having a little softball practice out here. How cool is that? It's good to see people and kids and everything out here, man, in Byers. Byers, Oklahoma is, well, very small town. Very, very small town. It's good to see people out here interacting and having a good time. All right. I think I'm going to take it on a little bit further drive. That's what I think. It hiccups every now and then, but I'm giving it the beans, man, and she's going. Plus, we got a good sunset this way. I mean, we're going 40. Let's see what it does when it's time to get it up to 60, 65. We're at 50. No joke, it's doing great, guys. Speed limit's now 55. I'm going to set the cruise control, and it works. Cruise control works. As you can see, the mileage is 176,786. This car floats down the road, man. I'm serious. Just floats like a boat, man. Wow. Okay, speed limit is 65. Let's get her up. Let's hit the gas. She's spitting and sputting a little bit, but she did it. Yeah, it's starting to break up now. It is. It's starting to break up a little bit. Set the cruise control at 65. I mean, that's highway speeds right there, guys. No kidding. It's definitely not perfect, but it's a whole lot better. The thing is, there's nothing I can fix if I don't get some kind of a code from the ECM telling me where I need to be looking. I could just throw parts at it. We could start replacing tons of parts. Throttle position sensor, mass airflow sensor, idle air control valve, intake air temperature sensor. There's no telling what's wrong. An oxygen sensor, crank sensor, cam sensor. There are a slew of sensors on this car that could cause it to run the way it was running. I'm very happy to report, though, as of right now, it breaks up a little bit, but she'll go the speed limit with no problem at all. So it was about 6 miles in when this car started giving us problems the last time, and we are now exactly 6 miles in. And there's no check engine light. In fact, I haven't had any problem with the car at all. The brakes are smooth as butter. The tires don't vibrate. It's time to turn it around and head back. It does break up a little bit, but not much. Look how smooth the RPMs and the speed go up together. I'm really surprised, guys. I swear to you, all I did is put a few gallons of gas in this car. That's it. Otherwise, why would I have spent over $200 on this scanner that I'll probably never need again in my life? We're going 70. I'm going to pick it up to 75. I'm really going to try to get it angry. Let's set the cruise control at 75 miles an hour. We're sitting at about 2250 RPMs. Thermostat definitely has left a chat. Oil pressure's good. Battery voltage is good. Quiet as a mouse, aside from this little squeaking under the hood. I think it's actually the hood. You can see in the wind, the hood kind of goes up and down a little bit. I think the hood is what's making the squeaking noise, but no joke. I thought for sure we were going to have to dive into this, order a sensor or two to get this thing fixed. I had a whole video planned out on this car, guys, and it was not driving up and down the street. The video was to get the check engine light to come on, run the codes, figure out what it is, get the part, and fix it. That's the video. Well, guys, we are now over 7 miles into the trip, and nothing to report. We'll check in a little bit. So here we are. We're back to town. I have now put 11 miles on this car with no check engine light. I'm still going to run the codes anyway, just to see if anything pops up. Like I said, occasionally you can feel it. It's not backfiring, but just breaking up. You can definitely feel it under certain conditions. But the last time we tried this, I couldn't make it up a hill. I barely made it home. The car barely drove itself back to the house. And I was at 75 miles an hour this whole time. And I had no problem maintaining 70 to 75. So whatever problem we were having before is obviously way better than it was. And the only thing I've changed was gasoline. So that really leaves me wondering if maybe it's just some bad gas in the tank, and 3 gallons is definitely enough to make a difference considering the tank was practically empty anyway, but it's not enough to clear it up the rest of the way. We would need to add several more gallons to it for that. In fact, probably be good to just go ahead and fill the tank up with some fresh gasoline. I've even got the air conditioner on. I turned the AC on trying to piss off the engine. trying to get this thing upset with me. I don't need the AC. It's not even hot out. Not at all. Even with the air conditioning on, 75 miles an hour, no warning lights on the dash. We just drove through town. I have now put 12 miles on the car with no incident. None. So I think I'm going to turn it around, get back to the house. We'll go ahead and run a diagnostic on it, but I'm here to tell you, if that check engine light isn't on, let me get off the road here real quick. But the check engine light is over here on the left in this like stack of lights over here. If it's not on, there's no code, and it's running like a top, smooth as can be. Not a problem. Look at this. Turn the headlights on, get that orange glow. Shifts great, drives great. I think it was gas, guys. I do. Hey, sometimes when I got gas, bad gas, it's crippling. And sometimes I have to go break up too, if you know what I mean. So I understand the little car. It just had a case of bad gas. I'm finding it very difficult to believe, because that never happens. Not ever do you buy a car that's broken and you just have to put some gasoline in it and magically it's fixed. But I think in this case, I think that's what it was. I really do. Let's pull off here. I'm going to get off the road into my driveway where I've got all my beautiful cars parked and sitting. And why don't we take a listen to her? Let's run some codes just real quick. We're going to put this thing in diagnostic mode. Read codes. Working. Reading from engine. No codes found. None. And like I said, Bluetooth thermostat, I think, because coolant temp is way too cold. Voltage good. The oil pressure is good. If you give it some gas, it goes up. You can clearly see the RPMs. They go up. It's not really breaking up anymore. Occasionally there's a slight break in it, but it's running way better, guys. Like I said, cold air, radio. Radio works great. Let's get out and take a look at the car. I'm blown away. I am blown away. Look, we got lights. Hell, the car even came with good tags, guys. I have no idea whose tags those belong to, but they're good till January 2025. So I think I'm gonna, oh, you have to use the key. You have to use the key to open the trunk. For whatever reason, it doesn't, the button works, you can hear it clicking, but the trunk doesn't actually open. I don't think there's anything in here. A jack. Oh, some smell good stuff. That's probably why it smells so good. Yeah, look, all the lights. It's got good tires. And listen to this. Yeah, all the lights are working. Does this have fog lights? It does, but I don't know how to turn them on. Let me see if I can figure out the fog lights real quick. This window doesn't work, and that window back there doesn't work, I think. Yeah, it's these two windows that don't work. They're opposite from each other. Fog lights, not a clue, man. Sentinel lights. So I don't like Sentinel lights. I'm not a big fan. Windshield wipers, they work. Fog lights, though, you'd think there'd be it's got tilt wheel. I don't see a button for fog lights. Somebody's going to drop a comment and say, hey, man, they were right there. You were looking right at them. But, yeah, I don't see them. Anyway, forget the fog lights. Not important. Let's pop this hood. There's that BMW. I'm working on this one. Yeah, I'm working on both of these kind of simultaneously. Uh-oh, there we go. Let's get this up. Take a peek under here. Make sure I don't smell any gasoline or see anything leaking out from under here. It's perfect. Literally perfect. You can't fault these engines, man. You really can't. What a trooper. It's not hot, but it's definitely warm. Good pressure on the cooling system. Oil, I mean, it's running, but oil looks nice and clean. Like I said, air conditioning works. Trans fluid, that looks aftermarket. Trans fluid, it's not too bad. Definitely could use a service, but obviously it shifts well. Even the underhood light works. Okay, well, little car, you just bought yourself a trip to the auction, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and release this video. I tried. I really, I'm honestly disappointed because this video was supposed to be about fixing it. I really wanted to figure out what was wrong with it and fix it, but I think what was wrong with it was simply bad fuel, old fuel. I don't know, but I am disappointed. I've never been so disappointed that a car wouldn't break in my life. I really wanted to fix this one. Nothing I can do though. I'm most disappointed that I went and spent the money on that tool. That was an expensive tool, but it's a more pocket-sized tool than my fancy scanner. So, you know, it does OBD2 codes as well. It's something I could always throw in a bag, keep extra with me, so that if I ever need a scan tool, I don't have to carry around my expensive one all the time. I'll find a use for it. There it is. There it was, guys. The old 95 Bonneville. If you're interested in it, I'm going to tell you right now, the reserve on this is going to be very little. You know, I paid $300 for it. It cost me after fees and everything about $600. So I've got about $600 into this car plus the $200 or whatever that I paid for the scan tool. I'm not gonna expect to get, you know, the money back on the scan tool. Obviously, I'm keeping it. It's not going with the car. But $600 into the car, and that's it. That's it. So I think I'm gonna throw this up real cheap. I'm going to put a buy it now for $1,000. And if it brings $1,000, great. Someone can buy it now and it belongs to them. If not, we'll see what the auction does, man. If it brings near $1,000, between $600-800, I'm going to go ahead and let it go for that. I'll go ahead and just sell it at that price. But if you want to buy it now, $1,000, I'm going to put a link to this car directly below this video. So I decided to take it out on one more trip. My fiance actually asked if we could just go for a ride. We took it all over Byers, man. Went and drove around for a bit and still no issues. Here it is, and the lot number is 524-24564. That is 524-24564. It is up there and for sale currently. I'm going to fire it up one last time. I'm really... I have such a hard time believing it could be something so simple because that never happens. It never happens. And you can see check engine light works. It fires right up, man. And headlights and everything. Look at that orange glow. It's beautiful. I love the glow from a Pontiac from this generation, man. Absolutely beautiful. All right. I'm satisfied. And I'm very grateful that it was something so simple as just putting some fresh gasoline into the car. Again, if you're interested in the car, you've got the lot number. I'll put a link directly below the video. You can just click on it. It'll take you right to it. And if nothing else, even if you're not interested in buying it, you can always put it on your watch list and you can watch the car when it goes up for auction live. You can see what it brings on the auction block. You can bet I'm going to be there watching myself. With that, I'm going to get out of here, ladies and gentlemen. It is getting dark. If you enjoyed today's video, do me a favor and hit the thumbs up button and let me know. Consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already subscribed. And until next time, stay safe out there, everybody. I look forward to seeing you all again very soon in the next one.